Well, let's first start talking about crime. It's been very much in the news this week in particular. I'm joined by John Diedrich, our federal reporter and a longtime criminal justice reporter, James Causey, our editorial columnist. Talk a little bit, John, about the story that you and Ashley Lutheran wrote on Sunday about the pursuit policy and gangs on the street and how that's sort of bubbled into a bigger issue.
So what we found is that there's a new modus operandi, if you will, for gangs operating on the street, and this was laid out in court documents. What we found is that this new sort of kind of drug dealer is exploiting police pursuit rules. Essentially, these rules were put in place to protect the public from dangerous pursuits. But what's happened is drug dealers and gangs that they belong to have used those rules to essentially taunt police and drive away from them. They're in heavily tinted cars, and they know what the police rules are, and they essentially have created these rolling drug houses within their cars, moving away from houses to vehicles, and it's a very profitable business, and that in part is contributing to the homicides that we're seeing this year.
That's what I was wondering, because we've talked to James in the past on this show about what can be done about the violence in the city, and this may be putting a finger on what part of the problem is, that if these gangs have shifted their tactics and are fighting over turf, because that turf becomes much more loosely defined because you're in your cars and not on street corners.
Well, yeah, the police are definitely going to have to change their policy, but I still don't want to see cops doing high-speed chases like Roscoe P. Coltrane, like from the Dukes of Hazzard through the city. You just can't do that.
Are we still able to talk about the Dukes of Hazzard in the politics?
Yes, we can.
Okay, all right.
But honestly, I think this will require more police and citizen cooperation, because now that they're in cars with tinted windows, maybe citizens could start telling people, telling the police, well, it's that car. It's a car with this white Buick Regal with this license plate or something like that. It's going to require more police work.
Yeah, well, John, what is the challenge here? Because, I mean, you can't see in the car, which might help them establish the probable cause to chase them. And so what could be changed that might make it easier for the police officer on the street?
Well, the key for the police officer to engage, and it's not a no pursuit policy, but it's a limited pursuit policy, and they can pursue in the case of a violent felony, or if public safety is immediately at risk. What these criminals have ascertained is that if they tint their windows to the point the probable cause, the information that the officers need to conduct that chase is not available to them. So, some of the ideas that might be percolating up here is whether probable cause, as James was alluding to, could be established in different ways. The problem, though, is that these cars are so darkly tinted that even the windshield is tinted. And there was a case in court this week where the officer detailed how he came to the front of the car. He could not even see in the front of the car. That's all illegal under the ordinance. They can stop the car. The question is, how can they establish at that point that they have enough information to get in there? And that will be based on witness reports of what they've seen and so forth. The problem, though, is even then, based on 5 years of action, these individuals will not quickly stop. They've learned that if you drive 20, 30 miles an hour over the speed limit for a certain period of time, police will break contact. And what police need to figure out is how can they interrupt that practice.